This shark movie begins light years away from planet Earth, up in space, with aliens. I shit you not, mother freaking aliens. To understand Raging Sharks, I need to fill you in on the history of the bad shark movie / Jaws ripoff. Jaws came out in 1975 and was super successful because it was good. And when other filmmakers saw that, they decided that instead of coming up with creative, original ideas, they would just do that, but bad. So now, every single shark movie is a Jaws ripoff. That's it. That's all. History lesson over. Back to the movie. You may be thinking, what could aliens possibly have to do with this movie? That's exactly what I was wondering. So I watched it, and to be honest, I still don't know. Raging Sharks is both ridiculously convoluted, yet at the same time stupendously boring. The opening scene is pretty cool, don't get me wrong, but then the film takes a swift and disappointing shift in tone. There appears to be a collision and something from the spaceship crashes down directly onto a ship, which is statistically unlikely, but okay. And there's a lot of chaos and a lot of explosions and the boat sinks. And the alien thing falls to the bottom of the ocean. Then there's opening credits. So many opening credits. I think they did them all at the beginning, hoping by the end of the movie you would forget all the people responsible for this atrocity. If that was the case, they were successful. Anyway, it's now 5 years later in the Bermuda Triangle at the crash site.
I hate this place. Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah, we know. Raging Sharks is about a team of scientists in an underwater lab studying something. It's never made clear exactly what they're doing. Are they studying the ship that sunk? The crash sharks? Are they like shark scientists? Did I miss something? Very likely. I'm also pretty sure the writers just didn't give a shit. So, real quick, we have main scientist lady, main scientist dude who's main scientist lady's husband. We have blonde scientist girl. We have brunette scientist girl. We have mechanic douchebag guy. We have mechanic Russian guy. We have the worst actor in the entire movie, aka lab coat scientist dude. We have the dad from Psych. We have the bad guy, CIA agent. There are plenty of other characters, but they don't matter. Lab coat dude is doing science in a lab coat, and he somehow manages to reveal what a terrible actor he is with his first line of dialogue, which is just 2 words.
Interesting. Fascinating.
Yeah, get ready to deal with this shit for a while. Main science dude leaves the lab for some reason. That reason being he needs to be somewhere else for the plot. And when 2 of the science guys go out underwater to fix something, we get our first shark attack of the movie.
Don, Jake!
You'd think they'd be more prepared to deal with something like this, considering the nature of their work, being underwater and all. You know, where the sharks are. But no, they just get absolutely decimated, which becomes a running theme in the movie. Anyone who goes outside the lab or like in the water gets instantly destroyed by the sharks. Well, of course everyone except the main characters. They can go out and be just fine, because the movie needs them, obviously. Now this is just a replication of a scene from Jaws, but not executed nearly as well. The sharks somehow cause a shitload of damage to the lab, enough that they are all in dire danger and need someone to come save them.
Damage reports. External power has been cut.
Ernesto, come in, emergency. Shark attack, 2 divers down, systems damaged. Do you copy? Ernesto, we got a problem.
Bloody hell, the oxygen supply line's been cut.
So the oxygen supply line has been cut because a shark bit it? I don't know, that just seems like a bit of an oversight. The main scientist dude has to find a way back into the lab to help somehow, because the issue is that they can't get out of the lab, so now he has to go into the lab. There's really no reason he has to be outside now, except to add a lot of time to the movie.
Well, I investigate accidents on projects that have government funding. I believe there's been serious violations of certain rules and regulations.
It also says that the last safety check performed on the Oshona was 6 years ago. That's 3 years past federal regulations.
That explains a lot about this piece of shit. Remember, this guy ends up being the hero in the end. Keep that in mind. He is the good guy. A guy on a boat goes out to check damage and gets killed by a shark. I mean, who could have seen this coming?
Off.
Status report. Systems are not responding. Jenny's down, ventilation's down, pressure stabilizer's down, communications down.
Literally, everything is broken. All because of some sharks. Everything.
I don't know. I've never seen behavior like this before. It's like they're a cohesive unit.
It's like they're a cohesive unit. We've seen no evidence of this.
Sharks are fish, right? Fish swim in schools.
Yeah, but sharks rarely hunt together, and when they do, it's with their own kind.
She said yes, and then went on to completely contradict everything blonde scientist girl said. Oh yeah, there goes our science boy again with another great performance.
I've got a bad feeling about these orange particles that we've collected.
Why?
There's nothing like them on this planet.
Richard Dreyfuss could never.
Unless NASA's got something new up their sleeve we haven't heard about.
Ah, yes, NASA. Famously involved with the ocean. National at-Sea Agency. I think that's what it stands for.
Hey, look, I've taken the readings 3 different times. Each time there's an increase in the concentration.
Could it be affecting the sharks?
Possibly. This stuff could be toxic.
That's why I put it in a thin plastic bag and brought it out for you all to look at. So, this movie is telling me that the sharks are in a bad mood because of crystals. I mean, that's some Instagram influencer bullshit right there if I've ever heard it. Then a plane comes to do something. I mean, it's the Coast Guard, but I don't know why they're showing up in a plane. I don't know how that's gonna help anybody's situation. They immediately get fucked by sharks. So if I'm correctly keeping count, that's 3 times people went out into the water and got killed by the sharks. So now I'm guessing they've learned their lesson and they won't send anyone else into the water, right? Right?
So what's the damage?
Completely ruptured oxygen main line. Gone. Poof.
Ушел.
We're gonna have to turn on the bloody reserves.
В резерве.
Can you do it?
Well, not without going out there.
Why? Why? Why on earth would you need to go outside to do that? That makes no sense. Even in a normal situation, that makes no sense. This actually makes me so angry watching the movie because it becomes a huge plot point. But it's so stupid. Write something else. Literally write any other reason for them to have to be forced to go outside. No, just imagine a building equipped with sprinklers, but instead of the sprinklers activating automatically when there's a fire, you have to escape the burning building, go across the street, and flip a switch. Imagine if you were born with half a brain and were still able to get a job writing a movie. No,
You're going out.
nobody should be going anywhere. Have you been asleep for the past half hour? People keep dying.
You know, you're a real coward, Harvey.
How many more people are you willing to sacrifice on this fucking job?
He's right. The movie makes him out to be a jerk, but he's totally right. What makes you think things will go any different this time? You might as well just season him with salt and pepper. Meanwhile, while they're all still arguing about irrelevant shit on the sub, I mean, It's not like this situation requires any sort of urgency whatsoever. Yeah.
What do you think's sending them into overdrive? I mean, why are they behaving so aggressively?
Well, in my 10 years, I've never seen anything like it.
Do you think it could have something to do with your research?
What are you implying, Mr. Styles?
What are you implying? No, really explain to me, because I don't understand. What exactly is their research? Sharks? If that's the case, then they're terrible at their jobs. They don't seem to know how to even remotely deal with them. I understand the sharks are like bipolar or something, but they're still just sharks, right? They're biological creatures. There's a limit to what they can do, alien, voodoo or not. Out of nowhere, we go to Bermuda, where the sharks fuck up a lot of people in what is probably the best scene in the movie. It's an unnecessary scene that adds nothing to the plot, but it looks cool. And it's at this point you notice that the special effects are actually pretty good. In most Jaws shark movie ripoff, the shark is like horror CGI, like a bath toy with some forced perspective shooting. But this looks decent. There was clearly some budget around this movie, making all the other bad stuff just that much more noticeable. This is just another scene from Jaws that they copy, except the execution is so much worse.
Stomach here, let's see what we've got. Grab that part and pull it back.
Okay,
Would you?
sure.
Just right there.
Let's check the intestines.
Very good. Anything?
Everything looks pretty... Wait a minute. There's something.
What are those?
And I don't even have time to explain why. This is all bullshit.
Safety checks, maintenance logs, seals of inspection, even all the permits have expired.
What permits?
What permits? What permits? What do you mean, what permits? Am I supposed to be on this guy's side? He's so fucking unlikable. And then these journalists or news reporters, this is legitimately the first time we've seen these people. Obviously they all die because they're dumbasses, and this movie knows you're getting bored. Once again, this has nothing to do with the plot. It's just a random shark attack to fill some time.
Lab results on the shark. Hydrocarbons, extreme heat resistance. Unknown substance.
What do you mean it's an unknown substance? You brought it all the way back here to tell us it's an unknown substance? We already knew that. Or didn't know that. So main science guy and cocky CIA guy get into scuba suits and go to the lab. And oh, what a shock. The sharks try to kill them and unfortunately fail. It's not like the sharks have tried to kill everyone else who have gone out into the water. It's not like anyone could have seen this coming.
You can't do this. We spent 10 years of our life building it.
So the first time I was watching this, I was like, is she trying to do a British accent? It sounds really bad. But no, I'm pretty sure she is British. And she's trying to do an American accent, and it sounds really bad. And like everything else in this movie, it only gets worse as we go along.
You kidding me? We don't have 35 minutes oxygen supply left. We have maybe 20 minutes max. We got reserves. That'll give us another 30 minutes. Yeah, but somebody's got to go out there and turn the bloody valve off.
Somebody still has to go outside and turn on the reserve oxygen.
Is there a problem here?
He's a chicken shit. He won't go outside.
I am not going out there with those freaking monsters swimming around, all right? Fine. I'll do it myself.
Every single time they go outside, they get attacked by sharks. It's not complicated. You have a very large sample size to look at.
I'll do it myself.
No.
Oh, no, honey. You're not expendable. The blue-collar worker is. Main science guy and Italian guy, who I haven't mentioned before because I legit just noticed he was in the movie. It's not like I forgot he was a character. I didn't realize he was there until just now. The entire time I've been confusing him with Russian dude because they look alike and have similar-ish accents. It doesn't matter who he is because of course he dies when he goes outside like everyone else. Oh yeah, and the sharks are like audibly growling like jaguars the entire movie. And it's not the most ridiculous thing happening, but it's worth pointing out. Main science guy is trapped outside surrounded by sharks. So he tells the rescue sub to launch a torpedo at the sharks.
Sir, Oceana's requesting we launch a torpedo.
What?
I cannot fathom the thought process that went behind writing this scene. Is he supposed to make him look like a badass, like Brody? Cause it absolutely does not.
That's a Mark IIB torpedo with 700 pounds of explosives. It will obliterate everything in the area.
It should, but it won't.
Mike, they're launching. Cover yourself.
This is insane. We could get hit.
Shut the hell up!
Why you boring me? I'm right.
Where's Styles?
Chicken shit took off when the torpedo hit.
Should I go find him?
Every goddamn line. He has the ability to sound so awkward with so few words. It's honestly kind of impressive. I just want to marvel in this performance for a while. So let's just bask in it.
You tried saturating them in deuterium yet?
Deuterium, no, but deuterium, of course.
Angry mechanic jerk guy tries to escape, meaning they had a mini sub the entire time. It doesn't matter because the sharks instantly kill him even though he's in a mini sub. And they are sharks.
Pay attention.
Go ahead, John.
You were right. They're hydrogen isotopes, charged with thermal neutrons.
It's cold fusion fuel. Stable.
2. I'm telling you, there's nothing like it on Earth. Nothing. 0 degrees Celsius and has a 2,000 to 1 conversion ratio.
What are you looking at? Your lines? It's like he's reading a weather report. I'm not gonna lie, he's really starting to grow on me. I wonder what he... Oh, no. No. Oh no. He's dead. Not via shark, surprisingly, so...
I just called the MOA. They have no record of event Styles there.
My.
Yeah, this might as well be happening. This guy is apparently a government spy, sent to retrieve the blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. He bad guy. Surprise! Blonde science girl tries some stupid shit and dies. Stop shooting, dumbass! You're in a submarine. If sharks can damage it, your pew pew stick definitely can't. Where did the gun come from anyway? I'm pretty sure he did not have a gun getting on. Are you telling me he got it from this ship? The underwater research lab. Russian mechanic dude dies saving everyone else. And by everyone else I mean just the main science husband and wife, because brunette science girl immediately gets captured and killed. Let me see if I can break this down for you in a way that kind of makes sense. Something that is hard to do because of how stupid this movie is. This guy disguised himself as a fucking health inspector or whatever, but he was actually from the CIA, and he conned his way onto the submarine because he wanted to get the alien stuff because it's apparently super duper powerful.
You're after the cylinder?
Hey, congratulations. You did it. The biggest discovery ever made, cold fusion. Enough energy to power the world for the next 500 years, and it just dropped out of heaven 5 years ago.
He says the government discovered the alien stuff when it landed, but the lab has been here longer than the alien stuff.
Well, it says here that the Oceana was built in '94. You've had 12 missions, 10 crew members, and you've been the leader for the last 8 years.
The lab was built in 1994, and so the alien thing crashed here 5 years ago. They don't clarify what year it is in the movie, but it's 5 years after the crash. We know that for sure. But for some reason, at the beginning, they say they got here 3 weeks ago.
So weird. We got here 3 weeks ago. There was nothing in this area. It was empty.
Yeah, it's like coming here screwed something up.
I'm not exactly sure what they meant by this line, but he's been in charge for 8 years, and the last inspection was 6 years ago, which is probably right before the stuff crashed into the ocean, meaning the lab was operating when the stuff crashed into the ocean, right? And that ship blew up and like everyone died. And apparently they're located at that crash site, right? And no one, not a single one of these alleged ocean scientists noticed shit was weird until like just now. But an alien artifact crashed down to Earth right above their heads. Did no one investigate that ship that just blew up? Were they just like, well, it's in the Bermuda Triangle, that happens. The characters don't even mention it in the movie. What was the point of all that in the beginning then? We didn't need to see all of that because the crash actually isn't that relevant. We just get regurgitated all this info we saw in the beginning of the movie, which isn't a lot, just something important crashed to Earth, that's all. And sure, the characters in the movie don't know any of this, but then why show the audience if it has no real impact on the story? There's no big reveal, there's no alluring, engaging mystery that we, the audience, are being led through to get to this point. We just know something the main characters don't, which they should, and it's just very frustrating. If the government knew it fell into the ocean but didn't know where it fell, which they should, and the only reason they know now is because the scientists stumbled upon it and that triggered a beacon into space?
And it just dropped out of heaven 5 years ago. So what? Because we couldn't find it. You idiots stumbled across it and triggered a beacon that shot into outer space.
How on earth was this plan going to work? He only got on the ship because someone got murked by a shark. Something no one could have known was going to happen. If not for that, what the fuck was the plan? The last half an hour has just been a complete waste of time. So much setup that ends up being completely meaningless. I know, it's confusing listening to me try to explain it. But trust me, watching this movie is 10 times more confusing. I had to draw a timeline in an attempt to understand this movie. The movie is called Raging Sharks. I thought this was about sharks. You know, seeing there's a shark in the title and on the cover. What's all this weird, complicated alien government corruption shit? Here's the plot of Jaws. There is one super mean shark that keeps killing people in this one area, and this iconic team of badasses band together to kill the shark. The end. There were no aliens in Jaws, and while the movie had a lot of theatrics, it was down to earth. Pun absolutely intended. This is so extra and very poorly executed. It doesn't even work in theory. It's just a jumbled, indecipherable mess, and after the opening scene, it quickly gets so disappointing. Almost the entire last half hour is just a game of cat and mouse, where CIA dude is chasing them with a gun trying to kill them, and that's for like an entire half hour. And I was already mentally over the movie at this point, so I'll just breeze real quick through the end. They end up just stabbing the guy and he crawls away and dies, but doesn't die. And the movie ends with the aliens ascending from the heavens like angels while opera music plays. And they take the cylinder and the lab blows up. And Science husband and wife who are trapped inside then somehow make it outside and escape and get to the rescue sub. And the CIA dude who didn't die gets eaten by a shark. The end, I guess. It may sound like I'm being facetious, but I really mean it when I say every shark movie is a Jaws ripoff. But it's like everyone who tries to rip it off has never seen Jaws or just doesn't understand it. In the process of making this, I decided to rewatch Jaws because I'd only seen it once almost 2 years ago. And man, is that movie so good. And I realized something I didn't the first time I saw it. Jaws is not a shark movie. It is a movie with a shark in it. You could replace the shark in Jaws with any other predator, any other enemy, and it would still be so amazing. It's a good story with great memorable characters and stellar performances, not to mention a rewarding plot with a rewarding conclusion. I'm not surprised that the same people lazy enough to attempt to ride off the success of another's film would completely miss the point of the work they were trying to emulate. They think Jaws was a hit because it was a shark movie, and sharks are cool. And if their shark movie has a cool shark, people will love it by default. First of all, Jaws made sharks cool, not the other way around. Movies like Raging Sharks build their movie around the shark, instead of first building a movie and incorporating a shark. In Raging Sharks, I don't care about any of these characters, especially not the main ones. The plot is messy and hard to follow. The human villain is just some government goon whose motives are irrelevant and unsympathetic, and the sharks are just mindless drones influenced by magic. I guess I'm only part of the problem. I definitely wouldn't have watched this movie if it wasn't for the shark theme, but that's also because shark movies have a reputation of being hilariously awful. But it is a shame that this is what Jaws started, a massively popular but reliably disappointing genre that I really wouldn't even consider it a part of, and perhaps that's for the best. I give Raging Sharks a 3 out of 10, more like a 2.5.